Ooh, welcome. 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 I can't believe I didn't hit that. Man. You know, the thing is, I think I said this in other shows. When you hit these, when you press on things, you don't always press as hard as you think you do. So it doesn't always register. And it just keeps going even when you don't want it to go. But I have accomplished so much by just letting that little insignificant flaw pass without having been railroaded in any way, shape, or form by it. So I have my show notes here to keep me focused, and they really, I used them really extensively for the first time yesterday. Now my show note, not my show notes, these are my checklist notes, not my show notes. My show notes, you can get access to those if you go to freako.com. But no, my show notes, they help me a lot, and let's see how well they do today. We started our stream, we did the video, everything right. We got the ending here right. We ended right just basically where I want to end as far as the video, the movie Metropolis is concerned. So everything is a go. We have checked our microphones, and the microphone is on. All righty. Whew. All right. Here we go. All right. That's a little bit better. Now we are ready. I'm not quite ready. This is the pre-show part, so I haven't really officially begun the show yet. So just settling in. I use this time to just kind of get my bearing and whatnot. So what I do with the show is I do the live stream, and while I'm doing the live stream, I'm also recording the 6 segments that I post on our Action Batsa YouTube channel. So with that, I don't know. Do I have anything else to add? I didn't make any major changes to the site recently. I usually don't make a lot of major changes during the week, but sometimes I might get something. But I did mention in an earlier show, I have as a goal this weekend, actually starting tomorrow, because tomorrow I have a lot less writing to do because I won't be writing for a show on Saturday because there's no Freako Talks the News on Saturday. So generally Friday through Friday, Saturday, and half a Sunday. The other half of Sunday, I'm back into the grind. But during that period of time is when I have the opportunity to keep getting stuff done that I want to get done, especially the freaking email listing. All things being equal, that's my major task this weekend, is to get that figured up. And then once I get that figured up and figured out, then yeah, it's all about getting to Freako.com and signing up for our email list, because then I'll have some cool stuff to show you. Hopefully I'll have some cool stuff to show you. Let's just cross our fingers on that. And I think that's about all the housekeeping notes I want to take. Let me take one moment here to clear my throat. All right, Cosmic Puppies. Cosmic Puppies is a go. Cosmic Puppies is a go. So with that note, I'm gonna punch this puppy in the head. I'm gonna make this show happen. For those of you who need it, we start this show just for all of you, just so you can still continue to be a part of our conversation, because we want you here.
Warning, the material you're about to be exposed to is foreign to the minds of individuals who are limited in their capacity to understand the actual reality of power around them, just as you and everyone else alive currently are. What you're about to hear are opinions, suppositions, like gospel or scientific truths, not infallible certainties. Brace yourself for incoming opinions that could confirm or deny your preferential view of the reality of power. Brace yourself for fallible material, fallible opinions, and values reflected, but nonetheless variably firmly held. We do not apologize to anyone who knows, we do not apologize for daring to express our views and impressions of what we believe is and what we hope to see. We will keep talking so long as we are able. And now, Freako attempts to talk about the news without freaking out. That's the plan, ladies and gentlemen. My plan is that I will talk about the news without freaking out. And just so you know, I think I got to make sure I'm going to change that up. I'm going to put the link on, or the notice on here as well. It has been 17 shows since I have last freaked out, ladies and gentlemen. 17 shows in a row. That means today I could set yet another world record, which in and of itself might be a world record. How many world records can you set in a span of a certain period of time? I keep setting these world records. It started when I had reached 4. 4 was the longest I had ever gone. And then week 5, or show 5, not show 5. I don't know what show number it actually was. I don't number my shows. I don't want to add any numbers, any more stuff to my titles or anything that I already have. So I went 5 shows in a row, breaking the old record, which I had, it had stuck for a little bit. And now I am the 17 shows minus 4. That's 13 world records that I have broken in the span of roughly thereabouts, I'll say about 16, 17 days. I can't do the math as far as the exact numbers of weekends where I didn't do shows. But that's got to be some sort of world record in and of itself. I don't know. And if it is, I might be breaking it again today if I can make it through 18. 18 is the magic number, folks. That's what we're going for. If I get to the end, I hope I remember, and I have my show notes to try to help me, or my checklist notes to try to help me remember, I will change the notification from 17 to 18. You could be a part of this. And today, I would say my initial, I could be surprised, but I feel like it's a low chance. I feel like if we're doing a weather predictions, is there a freak out predictions, I would say we have a 20% chance of a freak out today. And probably
0.1% chance of the whole show being a freak out. That's only happened once in the history of Freako Talks the News. That is possible. But so far, we're thinking incredibly low probability of that. 20% chance of a freak out, though. So there's reason to stay tuned, other than just the awesome content in and of itself, which of course is amazing. On this show, we're going to be talking the 400-plus mile EV barrier has been broken, sort of. In South Africa, Aquaponics is keeping disabled farmers in the black. American universities side with Z because their lives depend on him. Total War, the machine versus the South China Sea. That's actually our news poem for the day. Protecting the owners from viral liabilities post-Coranaville. Or the workers? Both? And then finally, our dialectical is going to be lighting the Promethean fires against safe internets. And how did we get here? All of this comes to you from the glorious world of Freako.com. Freako.com, where I am not freaking out about the news for you, the people. Where do we get such wonderful, wonderful stories to tell you today? We go to newsalike.com, which is part of our Freako universe. The glitz, the odd, the under the radar, the hard to believe news at a glance. These are just news links, just news aggregates, and I do this stuff myself. I do all of these things. I am a master of all trades. And just a jack of all trades, master of none. That's what I am. So, aggregate from here. I pick the 10 story to send on over to Freako.com. I'll go on over to Obamacare.tv, free market social engineering for the masses. And I select the 10 links from there that I have culled from the universe. Right on over to Freako.com. Finally, I go to pioneeringnews.com, Tech Science Underground News links. This is my favorite of the three link aggregate sites that I do. And I send not 10, but 12 on over to Freako.com. And from those, I assemble the 12 stories that I wish to seek to utilize in whole or in part to sing a song for you today through news. And that song title today for Thursday, April 30th, 2020, Freako Talks the News is Prometheus Murdered by Safety Committees Run by States and Corpos. That's the name of our song today. So everybody, brace yourselves, because we're about ready to lift off. If you go to Freako.com, by the way, you can also check out Freako's iChaps excerpts. These are all of the news poems from the week. I kind of do some different things with them, and I as you could see, I'm dressed differently if you're watching the video. That shirt that I wear, I'm not a commie. I'm if you're a commie, I'm not attacking you. If you're a capitalist, I'm not attacking you. I don't favor any of those camps, but that is the official shirt of the Freako iChap show, which is on this Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on dlive.tv/Freako, Freeqo. But you can see the excerpts here if you go to Freako.com. Let's get to the talk headlines. How about we do that? See, I decided to do my little pitch there before I did the recording. So this is the part of the show now where I get ready. I get things queued up. And this is going to be the first segment that's going to air on the Action Botsa YouTube channel later today, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All times are Eastern Standard Time, which is God's time. It's objectively, it's scientific. I looked it up. Here we go. Let's get ready for talk headlines. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Let's see. There we go. I want to make sure I got my checklist right there, because this checklist really is helping me. I highly recommend these checklists. If you don't have a producer in your ear, you have to have a producer on paper. Pretty much that's how these things are working. Now, I used to do this before, but anyway. I'm tightening things up as I go along. Tightening things up, folks. This is the talk headlines for Freako Talks the News on Thursday, April 30th, 2020. And I am Frico with Frico.com. Our top headline, the 400-plus mile EV barrier has been broken. Sort of. And this is going to be an excerpt from Top Gear, but first go on over to Frico.com/daily and make sure that you get all of the latest stuff from Frico, including this show, sent right to your email for free. Here's the excerpt from Top Gear. Apparently, this swoopy, there's a picture, you can see the picture there. Chinese EV can do 430 miles per hour miles. Wow. That's very different, Mr. Fricos. 430. Now, it'd be awesome if it could do 438 miles an hour for 438. No, that would be bad. I mean, it'd go fast, but it would only go an hour, and then it'd be like, dude, I'm done. Thoughts? Welcome to an EV that can apparently travel a very, very long way between charges. Zbang, zbang, zbang. I wonder if that's how you say that, zbang. That'd be cool if it was, because it's kind of a cool sound. I like that sound, zbang. A 5-year-old company headquartered in Guangzhou, China. That's the industrial hub of China there, I believe. If I'm wrong, comment down below. Claims the longest range version of its new P7 can drive 438 miles on a single charge of its 80.9 kilowatt battery. Yikes. Kilowatt hour battery. I think that's what that means. Comment down below if that's true. Admittedly, that's using the largely inaccurate NEDC test Europe ditched a while back, so there's no way the P7 will actually do 438 miles between charges. Who do you say? But more is still better. The longest range Tesla Model 3 is, by the looks of it, sold only in China. The longest range Tesla Model 3 is, by the looks of it, sold only in China. So Okay, so there is a version of the Tesla Model 3 that is only sold in China. Got it. A rear-wheel drive version of the all-wheel drive long-range model we get over here, built at Tesla's Shanghai factory. It claims around 415 miles of range, which mathematicians of the internet is less than. Wow, that's true. That's less than 438 miles. See, that's good writing. I like this. I like how you're writing this. This is from Top Gear. Okay, so yeah, whoever writing this, yep, I'm liking it. Good show, old man, old gal, or they. I don't know what you are. Must tweet incoming in 3, 2, 1. It does look pretty smart with full width front and rear lights, flush fitting door handles, and a minimalist interior. And the specs read well. Oh no, never mind. Did he say? Okay, I'm sorry. That's not. I was thinking. Never mind. I was thinking. Oh, that's right. I don't know what happened here. Okay, so it does. I thought that was a tweet that this was, but no, this is not a must tweet. So I was starting to read that like it was a must tweet. It's like, wait, it doesn't sound right. So it does look pretty smart with full width. So this is the author now writing, the author. With full width front and rear lights, flush fitting door handles, and a minimalist interior, and the specs read well. Zbang says the P7 is available in 3 versions and 8 configurations, the fastest of which is all-wheel drive and could do 0 to 62 miles in about 4.3 seconds. The brakes are from Brembo and Bosch, while much of the computing power is handled by snappy processors from Qualcomm and NVIDIA. So, just awesome. Much more to say about that. Just making more progress. Females only Olympic sports petition gains traction. Now this one, I think there's a lot that I want to talk about with this whole, and I really think the transgenders in sports thing is one of the fundamental areas in life where our to some degree, the factions are justified in assuming that each faction will use even a quote-unquote just cause to do far more than just actually address the issue that they allegedly say they want to issue, that they use it. There is literally other agenda behind it, and there always has been, and there always will be throughout all of human history. It's not a new thing at all. It's the way we operate, especially within these coercive enterprise governance models. So there's so much I want to say about this, but I'm going to be waiting until I find maybe the right story, or maybe I'll just end up writing something on my own. I'm not sure, but I've got a lot, because this whole, the friction of competing interests, the ones that are really locally focused, like the folks that are actually transgendered, that really do just listen, tell us where to go, but give us a place to go. Those folks, they're the least important to the story, by the way, to most of the people talking. I can almost guarantee you that. Almost guarantee you. They don't. If you're really transgendered, I'm not saying that you can't be transgendered and still be in an empathetic state, authentically working in the interest of transgendered folks. But I think that's probably only true of maybe 10% of the people that take this up as their cause célèbre. But if you're truly transgendered, I'm willing to bet most of you, and if you're transgendered, comment down below if this is true. You just want to know, okay, listen, I want to do this. Tell me where to go. I'll go. I understand there's a world of weird stuff and cross interest, and just give me a place where I can fulfill this aspect of myself, my athletic self. This is something we just don't want to cut off from human beings. So we have to figure it out. And the answer is not all or nothing. There's a world where human beings could sit down and figure out how to make things work in ways that allow human beings, transgendered or not. I don't believe that we should be looking at being able to play sports as a quote unquote right. It's not. Well, I don't believe in rights in general, but even within your constructs of rights, I would argue it's not. But again, there's so much to say about this. So let me just stick. I'm just going to go through this excerpt. Now, this is from Christian Post. And now Christian Post has its own vehicle of power at stake here. Right? They operate primarily from an assumption that it is the Christian duty to assure that society reflects their moral standards. And that is not unique of any other particular vehicle of power that others utilize. And most Christianity, all Christianity is a vehicle of power. And I would argue whatever the one true faith is, that one true faith is the vehicle of power that ends up actually serving God. At least that's my belief. But none of us can even fully follow that exactly. We're going to be wrong. Like, even in my belief system, I don't allow that I have, even within my beliefs of my understanding of God, that he hasn't given me the capacity to perfectly fully know and live out the one true way. So I certainly don't believe in, even from my Christian perspective, in extending my moral constructs and assuring that my particular moral constructs are assigned on everyone else who do not share my values. Christians, in large part, believe in the all or nothing. Either we will end up allowing everything and anything, or we have to, in order to avoid the everything and anything and all our kids are corrupted and everybody's going to die, we have to assure that this never gets a foothold. So we have to stomp this type of stuff out. And to me, it's not my understanding. Well, anyway, I'm telling you, this is such a deep issue that if humanity, especially here in America, within these lands, if we could figure out a way that we can have adult conversations and figure out the needs of all the individuals involved without going to the subhumanizing and depersonalizing that everybody does. The Christians are evil bigots, and the LGBTQ folks are just godless, corrupt people that just want to do horrible things to our children. These are the competing narratives for the main. There's no way these human beings can have conversations with one another. If you could crack this nut, you would open up so many doors. You would show the way for so many other factional frictions, especially amongst us poors, because just like us, the people that are not transgendered specifically, just like the non-transgendered, the transgendered are diverse human beings in and of themselves, and yeah, I'll just leave it. I'm sorry, I gotta be disciplined here, buddy. You gotta stay focused. Let's get to the actual post. Petition backs female-only sports at Olympics. Demands suspending transgender rules. A new petition is demanding the International Olympic Committee suspend their guidelines on transgender identifying male athletes for the upcoming games in Tokyo next year. Launched by the nonpartisan coalition Save Women, there's no such thing. There's absolutely no such thing. Just I call BS on that word nonpartisan. There's no such thing. And certainly not when you're talking about doing something like this. This is partisan in and of itself. Save women's sports. The effort is reasserting the primacy of women's rights, particularly as it pertains to competitive athletics. There's all of it. Christian Post writing about the rights of women. It's awesome. That's interesting. Males who present as females is fundamentally unfair, harmful, and wrong, the group says. The transgender eligibility guidelines created by the consensus meeting in 2015, which allows males to identify as females to enter women's categories, is unacceptable. Simply reducing testosterone levels for 1 year does not negate the male advantage over female athletes, the petition reads. Allowing male athletes to self-identify as female competitors is irresponsible, negligent, and dangerous. In adopting the 2015 transgender, just going for the jugulars. In adopting the 2015 transgender guidelines, you have abandoned your duty to protect the safety and integrity of females and female sports. This amounts to blatant discrimination against women on the basis of sex. Males should not compete in female sports. And they're just giving back what they're getting, and that's what everybody does. But you see it here. This is just, I mean, I can't imagine if you're a transgendered person and you see these debates. I can't imagine. I mean, I have to wildly conjecture here. I just can't imagine that there are a lot of transgender folks that even when they see the people that quote unquote stand up for them, that they feel really good about the world as it is, and even the humans that are on their quote unquote side, and how much damage they're actually doing to your brand, so to speak, because they're making people hate you more and more. They're deepening the divides and the commitments, especially because they have pegged your ability to play sports so heavily within a particular factional control, and that is this SJW absolutarian stuff that's going on. So no one can decouple the legitimate needs of transgendered folks in our community from it's a vehicle of power that people are using for very, very nefarious ends, way beyond anything that has to do with even remotely, in the end, helping transgendered folks actually have just a better place to live. I mean, I won't say anything more about this yet now, because I could go on forever. There's so much here to talk about. This is a place, this is a space where so many competing narratives are crisscrossed. That's why it's so loaded. There's so much dialectical fecundity about this show right here. This thing, it probably deserves a whole show in and of itself, maybe a series of shows. I have no idea, but it's such a if I was an historian looking back at this period of time and this issue and how humanity confronts, as they become more and more aware of just the clear obviousness that human beings exist within this sphere that we are right now calling transgendered. I don't know what it'll end up being called, but it's really, really fascinating. The whole topic intrigues me when I'm able to depersonalize. And sometimes I get myself, because I recognize the vehicles of power, and I can be definitely sucked into my own existential fears when it comes to how I see. I do not favor at all the SJW authoritarian camp at all. I view them as an existential threat to my very nature, because they fundamentally believe in government guns pointed at my head to control my thoughts, and that is something I'm so violently opposed to. I will not ever bend my knee to such an ideology. I don't care what form it takes. And believe you me, there's plenty of Christian forms of this. Christian form, atheist forms, Muslim forms, scientism forms, all types of forms that this stuff happens. And I reject any particular version of any type of ideological constructs that justify such thought. I'm just not interested. No. Going to get to this last one, which, last headline here. The organic ingredient might be key to expanding renewable, flexible, wearable power. And this is an excerpt from Text Explorist. New, highly flexible and durable polyimide integrated graphene electrodes. UNIST scientists have demonstrated a graphene-based electrode through direct integration of thermally stable polyimide on graphene, where PI serves a bifunctional role as a carrier film for graphene transfer and substrate for the graphene. These graphene-based electrodes enabled scientists to make organic solar cells. Of course, we're going to get the OSCs, of course, that can achieve the highest power conversion efficiency. Moreover, it is promising for use in various optoelectronic devices requiring high efficiency and flexibility. Professor Park said the proposed electrode is promising for use in various optoelectronic devices requiring high efficiency and flexibility. Thus, it is expected to be of great help in the development of various next-generation flexible photoelectric devices such as high-performance LEDs and light sensors, as well as solar cells. So this is another thing that gets me closer to my dreams. I'm going to just repeat this, maybe in every show, at least one of these things, I might have this, where you got on your wrist, you got this clear thing, it can't even be seen, and it's like your AI buddies. You got like 4, 5, 6, however many, like a family of AI buddies, and they're all specialized in areas that you want them to specialize, and you got them communicating the way you want them to communicate, and whatnots. So you've got these AI buddies right there, and you've got a methodology whereby you can actually internally you can internally draw their input into your mind. Like you don't need a device or anything, you'll just see it in your head. So you have like augmented intelligence, but it's not now the intelligence will change you, so it will definitely change you. It will probably help in the end reform your brain, and at some point it may be a difficult determination as to where you begin and where that ends and that begins, and so that singularity thing, that might be how it happens. But if it happens like that, in a way in which you are the coder of the stuff itself, you're the one that's putting the DNA into the thing right from the start, at the very least, to a significant degree, your agency, if we even have that at all, and I think we do and we don't, they're both true, then your agency does have a degree of determination in what it is that you become, because you'll become something different. But things like this are some of the possible breakthroughs that could make these things possible. I imagine there may come a time when we'll have a device that its material, it literally is fueled by the fumes or whatever it is that exudes off our bodies that normally would just go out into the air. Like, these things will feed off of that and produce the energy that we need to power stuff around our body. I haven't seen any science yet that said anything like that, but I have little doubt that it's coming. So exciting stuff indeed. And I'm going to end this segment there. Get Freako Daily Freaks. Just enter your email and click subscribe. You go to Freako.com. You'll find these in a couple different places throughout the daily scroll on the site. And also, you could go to Freako.com/daily and sign up there to get all the juicies that come out. This has been the 4 o'clock show on the Action Batsu YouTube channel. Coming up at the 5 o'clock show is the talk feature. And this talk feature is going to be in South Africa. Aquaponics is keeping disabled farmers in the black. And if you're watching on the Action Batsu YouTube channel, that means you're going to have to wait until 5 p.m. But if you're listening to the show live on dlive.tv/Freako, Freeqo, you don't have to wait. All right. Well, that was cool because, if you watched the show yesterday, you'll realize I did not take care of the nose hair issues, so I'm going to have that issue again. So that's cool. That's cool. I got to take care of that. I'm going to remember. You know what? I'm going to write that down right now. Ready? Y'all can't see it, but I'm writing this down. Trim nose hairs. Trim nose hairs. They're particularly sensitive when you've got your face up all in this mic. That's why they're more noticeable now than when I'm not doing the shows. With that said, let's get to the feature segment, ladies and gentlemen. It's a doozy. Well, it's not a doozy, actually. It's a pretty cool story. But I need to take a little water break here, and just so everybody knows, this is part of my checklist, and I absolutely forgot this today. But because I went through my checklist, the Hello Kitty Cup is here, everybody. So for those of you that texted me yesterday about this, nobody texted you. I want to thank you. There you go. You got your Hello Kitty Cup. Still on. We should maybe have a little thing of that eventually. How many days in a row can I sustain not forgetting the Hello Kitty Cup? I think that would be golden. Let's get to the feature segment here. All right, let's get her lined up here too. I think I know how I'm gonna do the promo this time. Yeah, I'm gonna do the promo a little different this time. We'll see how it works. This is the talk feature for Freako Talks the News on Thursday, April 30th, 2020. My name is Freako with Freako.com. And our talk feature story today is this. In South Africa, Aquaponics is keeping disabled farmers in the black. That's right. Now, if you go to Freako.com, by the way, you can get the latest feature excerpts that show up when they're posted on the Action Batsu YouTube channel. They show up in the list on the Action Batsu YouTube channel. If you're watching on Action Batsu, hello everyone. And you can get them there. This show will show up in that space today at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you're watching the live stream and want to watch this later. Let's get to the story. Thanks to the power of aquaponics, there are farmers in South Africa that were previously struggling and are now thriving. The organization InMed has brought aquaponics to the farmers, and it's been a game changer for all involved. Now, InMed, and I couldn't find what InMed stands for, and if I had more time, I probably would have, but yeah, I'm on a tight schedule, so I spent about 15 minutes trying to find it. I was like, can't do it. Not on their site either. Weird. Anyway, if it is, it's a snake and it bit me. InMed on its own website says of its aquaponics program, Through its adaptive agriculture program, InMed Partnerships for Children is dedicated to establishing sustainable food programs that improve food security, conserve natural resources, promote strategies for adapting to climate change, and provide opportunities for income generation. See, I'm all for all of that stuff. All of that stuff, even though I know it's all the language that the United Nations uses and the big scale, large scale, megalithic, monolithic monsters that are using these very terms, and I understand the very non-localized intention behind those globalized structures, seeking to basically get ahead of everyone, get out in front of what they know is either emerging or they know will be emerging. I understand all that. So just so you know, I'm not completely sucked into InMed here, but all that being equal, I will continue. At the heart of InMed's adaptive agriculture program is aquaponics, a combination of hydroponics and fish farming in a closed system that produces year-round crops at 10 times the yield of traditional farming while conserving scarce water resources and energy. InMed has developed a simple and affordable aquaponics system for small-scale farmers, schools, government institutions, and even home gardeners that uses easily accessible, quote, off-the-shelf, unquote, local materials. And that's another, this is really important here. Now, what's really important, though, is the way that these folks will do it is they want to use the local resources. They want them to use the local resources, but they want to make sure that their companies own the local resources. So that's one of the wrinkles. Now, I'm not saying this company. I don't know. I would have to look a lot deeper to figure out whether I would consider InMed a true a Promethean force, or whether InMed was just trying to limit the Promethean fire as much as possible, and co-opting the nature of Prometheanism in general, which I'm just calling Prometheanism. If somebody else uses the term Prometheanism in some sort of hideous way, oh gosh. But I just thought of it just this second, so I just didn't plan on saying that phrase like that. And not particularly innovative or anything, but Prometheanism, generally, the philosophy is unpatent the tech, free the tech, democratize the tech, put the secrets of tech into the hands of the many, not the few. That's the fundamental. And I think that I'm just going to say I lean towards they are probably more like a Promethean limiter using Promethean language. And the UN uses Promethean language all the time, and they're definitely Promethean limiters. They're co-opting Prometheanism and seeking to figure out ways to commercialize it and keep it contained and controlled by the same large-scale systems that made such things, I'll say, necessary. Its modular design and limited mechanizations make this system easy to operate and maintain and does not require fertilizers, chemicals, or heavy labor. And here's an excerpt for Horty Daily. Disabled Free State farmers are feeding their communities through aquaponics farming. The lives of nearly 100 disabled farmers in the Free State province have been turned around thanks to InMed Aquaponics, led by the knowledgeable and compassionate. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the knowledgeable and the compassionate Mantombi Madonna, an adaptive agricultural facilitator and trainer for InMed South Africa. So this isn't even the big honcho. This is just one of the colonizers. Oh, I didn't say that. Nothing like that. Matumbo, probably awesome human being. Mantombi, are you a male or a female? That's interesting. I'm not sure. I don't know the constructs behind this particular wordage, nomenclaturage for the namings. An adaptive agriculture facilitator and trainer for InMed South Africa. Subsistence farmers here were struggling to produce enough vegetables even for themselves, said Madonna. Today, well, it's Madonna. It's Madonna. Shut up. Today, the 3 cooperatives that I work with, they are cooperatives, are producing enough tomatoes and lettuce and a variety of vegetables, not only for themselves, but for their communities as well, at an affordable price. They even turn a profit. I hate that word cooperative. Really, really do. I'll tell you why in a little bit, if I remember. If not, you'll just have to figure it out. The cooperatives, made up mostly of disabled women and youth, are located in Hennenman. I've just named a bunch of provinces and stuff, and I'm not going to try to repeat them. The third large, okay, the water conserving, a bunch of places in South Africa, okay? The water conserving adaptive agricultural technologies and techniques introduced by InMed are a revolutionary approach to the interrelated issues of poverty, food security, nutrition, and economic development in the Free State, one of the worst drought-stricken regions in South Africa, as well as the region with the largest number of people with disabilities in the nation. Aquaponics plays a vital role in these farmers' food security, and they are now on their way to becoming self-sufficient, which is especially important during the coronavirus shutdown, says Madonna. Fortunately, InMed was able to receive a special exception from the government for a few members to visit the projects to monitor the seedlings, which will be ready for harvest in June. InMed South Africa's resource teams are also still available to offer telephonic guidance and support in case of emergency. Now, what I'd like to know, a lot of questions I have behind that. Well, I won't get to that. You know what? Let's just continue. Keep it focused, sir. Keep it focused. I do that for you, the people, by the way, because I prefer the more discursive nature of reality than most people do. The organization behind this, InMed, has major ties to the very companies that such stewardship-enabling technologies could one day render obsolete, which is why, in my humble opinion, when I say major ties, I mean they're involved, the biggest companies, the biggest food companies, the biggest companies are connected to this organization. So hence the skepticism behind what the ultimate intention is here. The organization behind this, InMed, has major ties to the very companies that such stewardship-enabling technologies could one day render obsolete, which is why, in my humble opinion, the true nature and intent of this organization is worth questioning. I cannot speak to the intent of the founders and the decision-makers that currently comprise InMed, but I can tell you that no matter their belief regarding accepting funding and support from the large-scale corporations that would be undone by local food security, local sustainability in general, the interest of the sponsors and the ostensible goals of this organization do not actually meet. Rather, my suspicion is wittingly or unwittingly, InMed is one of many placeholders for large-scale operations to recognize the burgeoning reality of stewardship tech, like aquaponics, while placing themselves in position to patent, copyright, IP, and otherwise create large-scale dependence on supplies and rights to use licensing of these stewardship technologies, creating a degree of local sustainability that is still vulnerable to the centralized decision-making process of the companies InMed is now working with. Companies that are working to position themselves as the continued monopolistic provider of essential life to rank and file humanity. Remember that these companies are connected to very, very wealthy citadelians that understand fundamentally that their power derives from their monopolistic, artificial scarcity control over the lives of millions. For every one citadelian, they may have, in a manner of speaking, 10 to 50 million human beings. In some cases, in Chairman Z's case, he has a 1.3 billion. Donald Trump, ostensibly, he doesn't really have 300 some million. He probably has about 80 to 100 million. So these folks, they understand where they get their power from. They will, and they have the resources to at least attempt to hold on to what they have. And the only way they hold on to what they have is to hold on to that artificial scarcity. And you can't hold on to that artificial scarcity if you free the tech. You can't. It's just a matter of time before it's all undone, and they know it. If you do bad things or think bad thoughts, don't expect to get your needed aquaponics supplies, licenses to use the tools, or even regulatory permissions from your government, whose hall of legislation will be filled with the wealth and power of these stewardship tech-controlling Leviathan's lobbyists. Should you seek to take your aquaponics tech completely off-grid as in outside the patent-controlling, monopolized resources-controlling leviathans that continue to dominate such large-scale killing tech, such as aquaponics today. And that's always the main struggle. That's the theme. That's the ultimate theme of this show. The two fundamental themes of this show, I think, that will occur again and again and again and again. The one is free the tech, and the other is free your mind from certainty. Reject certainty and embrace open tech. If we do these two things, fundamentally, we'll change the world in the course of a generation, 2 generations at most. You will have human beings that will grow up in fundamentally different ways than what we do see now. You will have, instead of in 1,000 so-called geniuses, people that have really unique, powerful ways to see the world that other folks might not see. Instead of 1 in 1,000, it'll be 1 in 6. It'll be 600 in 1,000, something like that. The capacity for human beings to create and be able to compensate one another for those creations, it's so far beyond what any of us really understands at present. There's going to be no danger of there ever being a lack of compensatable services that human beings uniquely will be able to provide human beings. There never will not be a need for human beings to offer value to other human beings for services that they can only get from human beings. We don't even know what they are, but trust me, wherever there is no longer a need for humans to do the service, it'll free humans up to discover new things that they can do. I'm not worried about it. I'm only worried about the control of the tech, the control of the mind, really. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about what has been going on at least for the last 200-300 years since this rise of the whole notion of turning thought into property, and what that has done is as the concentration of property has only rapidly accelerated, and it's a vicious war out there, folks. IP and patent wars, they're vicious, they're ugly, and they fundamentally destroy again and again our ability to create, to conversate, to grow. I've said enough. This is where I'm going to end this feature. Go to Frico.com, and if you scroll through the thingy, if you go through the scroll of the day, you'll find these buttons. Tip your Frico. You click on that Tip Your Frico, and it's going to say, hey, give me some of your PayPal monies. And you say, okay. $1, $2, $5, or a gazillion dollars if you're one of the Citadelians. And you need to do, if you're a Citadelian and you do it, you got to do it anonymously. Give me your gazillion, and don't expect anything in return. Nothing. You get nothing. You get no power over me. I wouldn't let you influence my thoughts on this show in any way, shape, or form. So, just take that into heart, Mr. Citadelian, or Mrs. or they Citadelian, whoever you are. This has been the 5 o'clock show on the Action Botsa YouTube channel. Coming up next on the Action Botsa YouTube channel is the 6 p.m. show, which is the Talk Focus, and our Talk Focus for the day is American Universities side with Z, because their lives depend on him. And if you want to see that, you are going to have to wait until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you're watching live on dlive.tv/Freako, Freeqo, guess what? You don't have to wait. Yeah, I like that whole you don't have to wait thing. I really like the cheese quality of that. I just love cheese. I love in almost everything I do to have a certain level of cheese, of kitsch. Oh, this is not cheese or kitsch. This is perfection. This is high. If you understand the power of Hello Kitty, the artistic excellence, the mature, what this shows about whatever civilization created such mastery of thought. then you would understand. I'm not talking, this is not kitsch. This is high art. This shows you that I'm cultured. And if you don't understand that, you're probably not cultured. But I do appreciate the kitsch element very much in life in general. And when I see things without any degree of kitschiness about them, I tend to look at them with a bit of I'm just going to say a skeptical eye. Let's get this started. You guys ready to go to the talk focus? Let's get ready to record. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. And welcome to the Talk Focus for Frico Talks the News on Thursday, April 30th, 2020. My name is Frico with Frico.com. Our top focus is going to be American universities side with Z because their lives depend on him. And before we get to the story, I want to make sure that you go to Frico.com/tips and pay the man. Just send me all of the money that you know that you're never going to spend this month. You're like, listen, I'm just not going to get to this. Listen, somebody walked up to me and they said, hey, would you like some money? I was like, money? No, I'm good. If you're those people, be sure to go to Frico.com/tip and pay the man. American universities side with Z because their lives depend on him. One Chinese dissident is spilling the beans on American colleges that have banned him from public speaking on their campuses. Well, de facto ban is in they will not allow someone to speak openly against the people that they have allowed themselves to be dependent on. The Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP. This article from the College Feed highlights the dependence on China for resources, intellectual as well as monetary, that have made American universities de facto part headquarters for Chairman C. Party headquarters. Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, you get those. I have my methodologies of checking spelling and stuff. And it's hard. These are the kind of things that you miss. These are the things. See, that's not wrong, but it is, because it's not part, it's party. But I forgive myself. I hope you do too. Please. Excerpt from the College Feed. Chinese dissident says Harvard ordered him to cancel event because it would embarrass university. A wide-ranging Harvard Crimson feature on the university's long-standing relationship to China opens with a bombshell accusation by dissident Teng Biao, who participated in the Scholars at Risk program on campus. A powerful person. There's some quotes there that I didn't put in quotes because it's stupid. A powerful person ordered him to cancel an event with fellow dissident Chen Guangcheng. While Teng had refused to name the person in previous interviews about the 2015 series of events, the Crimson cited anonymous sources who identified the powerful person, William Alford, Vice Dean for International Legal Studies, who has met with various Chinese and Taiwanese presidents and spoken at the Central Party School of the Chinese Communist Party. Dang! Just so awesome when we have our top-level academics rubbing elbows with the Chinese Communist Party leadership. While at the same hand, see, the thing is, these are the same leaders that have allowed this SJW authoritarianism to rise in their midst. It shows you just what a lie this is for these billionaires. They don't give a crap about any of the so-called disenfranchised groups that they tell you that they're interested in serving. They have no care. They rub elbows with the Chinese Communist Party, and they do business. They do serious business with people who gather people up and sell their organs. I mean, that is the right talking point. And the reason it's their talking point is because it's a powerful, like, the evidence is pretty damning that this thing is pretty true. And if you're dealing with people that do that, while you're telling the rest of the world that you're going to kick people off of your services and networks and destroy their lives because they dead named a transgendered person, really, really makes it clear what a piece of well, I'll just say how duplicitous you are. What it really shows is that this SJW authoritarianism is a vehicle of power that in the end won't be serving the folks that it alleges that it champions. Trust me, there will be no utopia for the pores, for the diverse pores at the end of the SJW authoritarian path. It leads right back to the Citadelians sustaining the very control they have now. So Tang told the Crimson that the powerful person told him, February 11th, to cancel the talk with Chen because Harvard President Drew Faust would be coming back from Beijing the day they planned to hold the event. She would also be meeting with Chairman Xi, a few weeks before that, and holding an event with two dissidents so soon after would embarrass Harvard, the person allegedly told Tang. Efforts to get around the person were fruitless. I don't know if I want to read all this. So you know what? I'll read this here at the end. Here's some key note here. As China's economy and higher educating system have developed, Harvard has continued building collaborative relationships, but perhaps out of necessity. Many of the world's top academics, labs, and studies, not to mention funding, are now in China. And when China was once all, and that is the key. That is more important than anything. And it is why, in part, they have some of the top labs now. Which I'm not criticizing China. I just want you to understand, I am not criticizing China at all for any of the things that they've done. The fault is with the Americans who entered into this arrangement. It's the same as what America has done to sort of nation states. So America isn't to blame for what happened to these other nation states. Well, they are out. In my estimate, America is totally to blame. China is totally to blame. But within the nation-state parameter, if you do not reject the nation-state parameter, you cannot judge the United States of America for its actions against other nation-states. You just can't. If you reject the nation-state model altogether, then we can have a conversation about how evil America is and how evil China is. But in the nation-state parameter, they're not. They're perfectly well within the bounds of what nation-statism is and what nation-statism necessitates amongst the competitors. Just has to, otherwise they die. If you're not expanding, you are a vassal or you're dying. And nobody wants to die. So everybody has to do what they do. China's not doing anything wrong. The United States isn't doing anything wrong. The people who did the wrong. Now, the degree to which you're using overt coercion where you're bringing your troops in, and that's even by nation-state standards. There are things that America has done that is violation of even nation-state standards, and China as well. But this particular aspect of how they control nation-states, this soft power, this is well within the bounds of nation-statism, acceptable nation-statism. So none of them are doing anything immoral within nation-state morality standards, no matter what they pretend selectively. So I don't blame China, and I don't blame America. I blame the people in those nation states, the people in this nation state that said, listen, putting our own people at a significant disadvantage at the advantage of another nation state competing with the nation state I live in? Yeah, I'm for that. Let's do that. See, that person is to blame. That person is as they say, I'm going to say the polite version, they are peeing in their own well. But they have managed to, I guess there's well water at the very bottom, so they must have a little bridge or an overhang ridge where they can put a mansion on top that isn't actually in the water. That's what the Chinese set up for them. That's kind of where they're at, and that ridge though is way better than anything they ever had before. So from their perspective, it's gold. This arrangement is great. So they are peeing in their own well, but they're not living in the water like the rest of us. That's pretty much what's going on there. Regulation through social media machine analysis. This article excerpt from the Mirage Times highlights work done by Johannes Eichstadt, who has been developing theories on how you can use machine learning to analyze the overall health of a community And as I've often said, and will continue to say, it's hardly ever the tool that is the threat to anyone or anything in and of itself. It's how the tool is used, which is a decision made by the users, not the tools themselves. Machine learning tools that can identify the human-defined parameters of healthy can be effective tools in understanding, insofar as we humans can, even with our augmented intelligences and tools that expand the senses we can read the world with, the reality of power in your community. This data can be used to bring humans to a consensual-styled awareness and persuasion campaign intended to help correct the unhealthy, as determined by the humans that program the machines, factors that might be interfering with a community's capacities to sustain consensual-based forms of interaction between the members. One cannot help but wonder if the work Eichstadt is doing here will be the enabler for further controls of more and more parts in our lives by an increasingly small set of experts, elected officials, and now they're machines that will, I can assure you, be calibrated to produce desired results, not actual objective or at least more universally shared desired results in the community that they allegedly actually serve. Identifiers of unhealth, as defined in consensual aggregate rather than by a select number of highly compensated experts who owe that high compensation to the same controllers who will, most assuredly, benefit from the findings of such analysis, might produce consensual usefulness in these tools, but centralized hubs defining the parameters of these tools will produce results that protect citadelians from competition. There can be no other acceptable results. So again, same old, same old, same old. It's if the tech is free, if the tech is democratized, the tech will serve to enhance the lives of all. Subjectively, well, objectively, sort of, within frameworks of preference, within frameworks of consensual preference, I'll say. And if it's not, then it'll be a dystopian nightmare. And once they get control, it'll be not impossible. And that's the thing, it'll never be impossible. It'll always be a struggle for them, but it will be difficult to overcome the level of control that they'll be able to initially gain if they're able to beat us to it's a race to the sea. We can outflank one another. Whoever can get to that seashore on the right or left flank, depending on where you're at, first, that's the one that's going to win. The one that can make the final maneuver that cannot be outflanked. The final outflanking maneuver. I mean, there is no such thing, but in terms of setting the stage for maybe 10, 20 plus years, that's what we're talking about, maybe longer. Talking about that. That's what's going on right now. And one side fully understands, and the other side has no idea that the fight is even going on. That's in part why I'm doing the show, to let everybody know, we the poors. And we're millionaires. Some of us are millionaires, by the way. Some of us might even be billionaires. There are probably some billionaire poors. I know that sounds strange, but well, if you listen to the show long enough, you might understand why. And if you keep listening, you'll understand why that might be true. I think that would be incredibly rare for a billionaire to be a non-Citadelian. But I don't think it's so rare. I think most millionaires are close enough to the Citadelians that they're kind of indistinguishable. They're high-level vassals. But there are probably a much higher percentage of millionaires, maybe 10, 15% of millionaires that are not vassals. But amongst the non-Citadelians and non-dependent vassals, I'll say, that we are the poors, and that if we understood what it means to be the poors, it's not economic. It's about your ability to freely be who you want to be without fear of the world around you using violence to stop you. And there's very few people that have that power, and in America, that's becoming increasingly more and more obvious. And if we understood this, that we are 90 plus 90, whatever it's 90 plus 99 plus, whatever the percentages are, If we understood this and we understood that what the real battles were, where the real battles were, the real battle is tech. That's the real battle. This is an arms race that's going on. The arms race is in artificial intelligence, deep learning, quantum computing, encryption, and value exchange in anonymous ways. These are where the battles are. These are the critical battles that will define the balance of power between those who are willing to kill their neighbors for ideological reasons versus those who understand that they have no such power to do so without getting seriously messed up in return. The broken and the ones who imagine that they are above of the fragility of the nature of existence. That's ultimately what we're talking about here. So here's the excerpt from Mirage News. Through AI and text analysis, social media can provide insight into well-being of a community. Stanford scholar, well, no, that's right. I did all this already. Never mind. Okay, that's it. I did it all. We're done. I think we're done. If I missed some stuff, it's too bad. You'll have to go back and read it. But in essence, whatever they say here, as far as what Eichstadt is actually doing, the key is, okay, so he's tested Twitter, and that's another thing. Some of the parameters that there's so much about his study even that people are questioning, but it's one of the starting blocks. It's one of the starting questions. Can we analyze, for instance, social media and get an understanding of the health of a community across a wider variety of indicators of exactly what health is? It invites so much opportunity for factionalists to swoop right in and co-opt and use as their particular vehicles of power. So it's not to be, I'm going to say it's not to be trusted at this present moment in time. The idea of these types of tools, the tools themselves, awesome, really, really wonderful, promising. If we can get a more holistic view of the nature of our communities, and it was formed in manners in which there was balances of power between the inputs that determined what the instruments were looking for in the first place, that you could have powerful tools that could help humanity as a whole come to understand what we can do to tweak our interactions to produce the most amount of winners that we possibly can. We want everyone, ultimately that's what consensuality is in its purest form, a form we could probably never fully obtain, I don't think, but it is where there is a value exchange between entities that for whatever reason profoundly and rootedly want the other to win as well. Like they want everyone to win. That is what consensuality is. And we have the technology that can afford us opportunities to be much more magnanimous and to with much greater ease allow ourselves to submit to one another in ways that permit us to truly want the other to win. That's where I'm going to end this segment, the focus segment. This is the 6 p.m. show on Frico Talks the News' YouTube channel, which is Action Batsa. That means that we have reached the halftime for the folks watching live. But for the rest of you that are watching this segment on Action Batsa YouTube channel, that means this is just the end of the segment. The next segment coming up is going to be the news poem. And you can, by the way, if you go to Frico.com and you scan, you can get the latest news poem excerpt. It shows up right here on Frico.com. And you can also get Frico's iChap's latest print version of all of the poems as well, without the news, just the poems themselves. That's available as well. You're going to have to wait, if you're watching on Action Batsa, however, till 8 p.m. to watch the news poem, which is going to be Total War, the Machines versus the South China Sea. But if you're watching live on the action on the dlive.tv/Freako, Freeqo, which runs every 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, well, you have to wait too, because we're actually going to be going to break. Turn off the lights. Well, I made it to the halfway point of the penultimate show of the day. And that means we're at the news poem part, and we are also at the Metropolis part as we get ready to transition to the halfway point. I'll be back in a few minutes after this lovely break, and then we will get to the news poem and more stuff ahead. And hopefully, if I remember, I never did tell you why I don't like the word cooperative. I'll get to that hopefully if I remember later on. Let's get to the break though.
Love overwhelmed me. Love overwhelmed me.
Oh, yeah. Ah, that's one thing I didn't do. Dang it, I thought I had that transition nailed and I forgot. I forgot to turn the frickin' lights off before I left the room. But I remembered. So I'm back on point. Let's look it over our checklist here, see how we did. We're coming back from the show, so what are we doing here? We've got the microphone is on off. I did that. I looked at the little input. I got microphone. I paused the video, but you know what I didn't do? I didn't stop the music, ladies and gentlemen. You got to stop the music. So we're ready to get to the next segment of the show, which is going to be the news phone. But you know what we do before we get back there, right? What we do is we prepare those that may need the preparing, because some of you ain't going to like what I have to say. And I just want to let you know, I hope you stick around and keep listening, because, you know, I'm not coming after you, man. I want you to win in the end, too. I do.
Warning, the material you're about to be exposed to is foreign to the minds of individuals who are limited in their capacity to understand the actual reality of power around them, just as you and everyone else alive currently are. What you're about to hear are opinions, suppositions, ungospel, or scientific truths, not infallible certainties. Brace yourself for incoming opinions that could confirm or deny your preferential view of the reality of power. Brace yourself for fallible material, fallible opinions, and values reflected, but nonetheless variably firmly held. We do not apologize to anyone who may offend. We do not apologize for daring to express our views and impressions of what we believe is and what we hope to see. We will keep talking so long as we are able. And now, Frico attempts to talk about the news without freaking out.
That's the plan, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why I have this right here. I've got my Hello Kitty cup right by my side. I got my water. Take a little sip here. Water tastes a lot better when it's in a Hello Kitty cup. It really does. It's like exciting. It's like you get cup in any other water and any other thing. It's just water. But when somebody hands you a Hello Kitty cup with water, all of a sudden it's excitement. It's awe. It's majesty. It's part of the allure. It turns the prosaic into the unexplainable. That's what art is, basically. Well, it's the best of art. The best of art turns the prosaic into the unexplainable, but not the unobtainable. See, that's the thing. It has to be an obtainable unexplainable. Because if it's not unobtainable, if it's unobtainable unexplainable, then it leaves you with nothing. You want negative capability. You want a utilitarian space, if you will, within the art. I know none of you care about any of this stuff, but I share it anyway, because that's who I am, ladies and gentlemen. That's who I am. A little bit of a brief, just a little bit of reminder here. We got our news poem from, basically, we go to newslight.tv, the glitz, the odd, the under the radar, the hard to believe news at a glance. Get 10 stories there. Obamacare.tv, free market social engineering for the masses. Get 10 stories there. Pioneering news, we get tech, science, underground news links. We get 12 stories there. And from all of those stories, I decide the one story that I'm going to choose to write a news poem about. And today's story, well, let's just get to that in a moment here. You know what? I think the next time I'm going to actually, I'm going to start the recording of the news poem for the segment. So that way, because one thing I don't have on any of my segments, like basically I'm marketing my 3 sites. I'd like people to start to use these sites because they got a lot of stuff on there, especially if you just want stuff like from Pioneering or Obamacare Newslight. But yeah, I'm marketing my sites, and I don't have any segments where I do that. So I think I'm going to do that next time, tomorrow, if I remember. I will do that. News poem segment. That's what I'm going to do this for. I'm going to record this news poem segment, though, because that's what you do. Let's get it lined up. Where's my, wow, why do I have I'm not in the right space. That's why. I was wondering, where's my music background thingy? Okay, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're ready. Are you ready? We're going to start this in 3, 2, 1. Hey, this is the news poem for Frico Talks the News on Thursday, April 30th, 2020. For today's news poem, we are going to be looking at Total War, the machines versus the South China Sea. And we get this story from looking at newsalike.com. The glitz, the odd, the under the radar, the hard to believe news at a glance. Get 10 links from there. Obamacare.tv, free market social engineering for the masses, 10 links there. Pioneering news, tech, science, underground news links, 10 links there. These are all Freako administered sites. And from those, we set it all over to Freako.com. And this is where I get this story today. Total War, the machines versus the South China Sea. The dialectical nature of nationalist China's globalization strategy, Chairman Xi has been cruising the world metaphorically through, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. This is kind of like a subtitle. You know, even when I did I go over all these things and I try to get some things down, made the same mistake when I did this then that I did this time. So let's do this right, folks. The dialectical nature of nationalist China's globalization strategy. That's the title. Chairman Xi has been cruising the world metaphorically through supply lanes, through cash, spreading the goodwill of the Chinese master that offers to the ultra-internationalist corporatists a sweet deal. Wealth beyond compare to what any of your petty nation states can offer you, and all to agree to let us in, let us in, let us in. Everywhere, in your bathrooms, on your teenager's app, let us in, let us in, let us in. Well, don't let me wax poetic pre-news. Here's an excerpt from National Interest. Globalization was wrong. Why the nation-state never left us. The People's Republic of China has been arguing that its mission is to, quote, save globalization, unquote, from quote, populist and nationalist anti-globalization sentiment. In early March, Global Times, a media outlet of the ruling Communist Party of China, warned that it cannot be ignored that the risk might turn into a geopolitical challenge if the West turns away from its concept of globalization. Into a geopolitical challenge. What does that mean? Are you saying that, are you going to go to war with us if we don't continue to homogenize our world while you continue to militaristically nationalize yours? Are you kidding me? That's kind of what's going on. The Secretary of Defense's annual report to Congress on the military and security development involving the People's Republic of China 2019, there's a mouthful, lays out the economic components of Beijing's comprehensive and national strategy. It states, China has mobilized vast resources in support of defense modernization, including Made in China 2025 and other industrial development plans, as well as espionage activities to acquire sensitive dual-use or military-grade equipment, as they should. Key to this mobilization is the effort to align civil and defense technology developments to achieve greater efficiency, innovation, and growth. International projects like the One Belt, One Road initiative will give Beijing control over more productive assets. The Global Times column mentioned at the start of this essay states, the U.S. wants to reconstruct its manufacturing capability or diversify supply chains outside China, and China needs to speed up to make breakthroughs in some key technology. The country that moves faster will gain the initiative. Yeah, that's one advantage that we poors have to this technological war arms race that's going on is one of the reasons that these nation states, I've said in other shows, they can't just systematically stamp out and destroy these individual localized empowering technologies, because if they do, then other nation states will take advantage of them, because these individual localized technological wonders have significant advantage over their large-scale systems that they currently deploy. So they can't just do away with this because there's too much competition amongst them, and they will do anything to try to beat the other guys and gals and days and whatnots. Let's get to the poem. Oh wait, no, here's one more thing they said. Their last line here that I took from this excerpt is, That is a true realist perspective to which the United States must respond in kind. No, they don't really need to. They don't really need to look at China as an enemy. No, they need to. I will say they need to not allow China to be in the driver's seat in fundamental industries and technologies and whatnots in America. But no nation state should let China be in that driver's state, nor should any nation state let the United States of America continue to do it to them. They should also kick us out. Everyone should kick everyone out. And the only kind of international commerce and trade and exchange that should go on should be amongst the poors, not amongst the elites or the citadelians or whatever. I mean, I'm just being a little ridiculous there. That's, you know, if I could snap my fingers and make it happen, because I don't want to cut off. My point ultimately really is I am not interested in cutting off international exchange. I am not interested in human beings walling themselves off from other human beings around the world. I am interested in nation states doing so, but not preventing their human beings from freely exchanging, so long as they're not human beings that are acting in the interest of states or corporations. Screw that. They should be all insulated from now on. That would be great. I'd love that. Let's get to the news poem. And I gotta remember the title because I didn't write. Usually I write it down here too, so for this very reason, but I didn't this time. Total War: The Machines versus the South China Sea. Force is the fool war. From the start of the stone, the affair is married to edges continued through blood. The after effect. A garbled half-carp thing flounders on the mud. That's not a fish, though. That's not a fish. The after effect. Koi eat the sun. Along the islands, nervous bulldozers tremble under spies. Sand pitch. Push. Force is the fool war. The battle is the justification of the load. The load, always the load. I say it again and again. This mothering load. The load that is built by the same architects that designed this mothering lure. War of the race for control of your machines, computational outrages in the fold of a quantum burp. Burp. But then the missiles hypered into death. Shit on by the load, the mothering load. Do you get this song? Do you get me? Along the islands, bulldozers sink under the sun, while seagulls peck at the salt, if they do such things. I don't know. Are there seagulls in the South China Sea? I see. I went away from the threat and made it a soft load, but it's not. The spot is perched over the dinner table. We are hunkered down, but our threat is still only from within. And that's the end of the news poem. You go to Freako.com and you scroll down the Daily Scroll. You will always see Freako's iChap's latest issue. So this Saturday, the poems that you're hearing on the show today, you will hear. The words will stay the same, but the way that I recite them, the music I use, other things, those will be different. And those will be on Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I do the live stream show version. And then just the poem parts themselves, without all my talking in between poems, those are then published that same day, Saturday, 4 p.m. through 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And they show up right here for Freako's iChaps. And you can click right on the video right there, and you can watch the latest poem that's been published. At 8 p.m., we will have the talk briefs on Frico Talk the News. Frico Talks the News' YouTube channel, which is Action Batsa. This has been our 7 p.m. show, which is the News Poem Show. Talk briefs coming up. Our top brief is going to be protecting the owners from viral liabilities post-Coranaville, or the workers, both? You're going to have to wait until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to get that story if you're on the Action Batsa YouTube channel. But if you're watching the live stream show on dlive.tv/Freako, F-R-E-E-Q-O, then guess what? You don't have to wait. Alrighty then. News poem is muted. I've turned the music off. And I've gone and I've gotten my Hello Kitty in position for the sippage. I've decided that I'm going to allow you to listen to the swallows because I think in the end it's better that way. Metaphorically and otherwise, I think it's better for all of us involved if we just resolve ourselves to that reality and accept it and make it normal. That way, all the times that I forget to do it, it's not forgetting, it just is. It's that way, it's one less mistake I have to make. So you understand. I'm sure you guys all understand. You all understand, and you're with me because you want to serve my vehicle of power, because you're living vicariously. Oh, no, you're not. So you probably don't care. All right. Well, I'll try to do the show anyway. Here we get to our next segment here that we're going to record. This is the talk brief. Get set here and lined up and ready. 3, 2, 1. These are the talk briefs for Frico Talks the News on Thursday, April 30th, 2020. My name is Frico with Frico.com, and our top brief is protecting the owners from viral liabilities post-Coranaville, or the workers, both? If you go to Frico.com, you can get the latest talk brief right here. If you scroll down the main scroll to the talk brief section, you will see the latest talk brief that has been published on the Action Batsa YouTube channel. And if you haven't subscribed to Action Batsa, shame on you. You go here and you make it happen. You hit the subscribe button. You do that right there. Look, that. Here is the excerpt from Goshen News for this brief. Companies seek to limit legal liability for virus inspections. At issue is how to balance protecting businesses from lawsuits that could distract them and even lead to financial ruin, while also enabling justice for customers and workers who, in a time of rapidly rising unemployment, may not have the option of leaving their jobs for something safer. If there is no liability on the part of employers without a set of rules by which employers have to abide by, then that means you can have a wild, wild west, said Kent Swig, president of Swig Equities LLC, a privately owned real estate investment and development company. You have to have a balance, he said, and you have to have rules and regulations. Swig says he's planning measures like one-way lanes in public corridors in the lobbies and plexiglass dividers in offices at his properties, but he's seeking national guidance as well. That's nice. There you go. So we'll see how that works out. And it really, no matter what anybody says, none of this is about any kind of ideational logic, reason, whatever. It's all vehicles of power that are in competition. And my bet is that the employees will come out with some minimal concessions, as minimal as possible, that they think that they can get away with. That's pretty much how it'll work itself out. And it'll be minimal. There will be some instances. There are some instances for some companies that have come to understand the practicality of having more consensual relations with employees. Oh, in the overall, more consensual. I don't know how the degree to which you have consensual relations in such imbalances of power in the first place, but in general, there are some companies that even on their own will end up doing better than ours. I don't want to, I'm not here to suggest to you that all companies are evil or business. I don't believe that at all. I believe most businesses are just, I don't really believe even within, we're talking about within the nation state reality of power, no company is evil. Very well, I'll say that. No, I can't say that. I'll say that most companies operate well within the range of what is acceptable as far as nation state type moralities. So, anyway, it's not going to be awesome for those of us that have minimal and increasingly diminishing opportunities to assert our preference into the input that produces the violent result at the end. The one that says these are the entities that will face potential lethal repercussions if they violate what we have decided. Google readying its own chip for Pixel's Chromebooks from Economic Times. And well, this is an excerpt from, here it is, the excerpt from Economic Times. San Francisco, Google may be developing its own processor for future versions of its Pixel smartphones, and the later versions of the chip could even power Chromebooks, said a media report. Google's own chip could power Pixel smartphones as soon as next year, said the report by Axios this week. I am just done with Google. I don't think that they should be. I don't want just another thing that this Leviathan thinks that it can control, because it's an IP whore. If there's anything that could trigger me to lose, to end the streak at 17 days and have to put 0 tomorrow, it's this article. It's this right here. It's what this thing means for me. And I don't know how many of you feel it. How many of you feel just what this is? Just another area that Google is going to insert itself and try to gain more control over the minds and thoughts and actions of other human beings. This Google has so systematically proven itself to be an untrustworthy steward of the power that it has. It has no interest in serving a general audience. It is a partisan organization. It's a militant factional organization that seeks to use its particular ill-gotten monopolistic power over the vast majority of us to advance authoritarian constructs, incredibly stewardship limiting constructs, and not just in terms of its ideological constructs, its ideological vehicles of power that it's chosen. It's part of that whole SJW authoritarian mob, but also in terms of its willingness to use IP and patents as a way to colonize the minds of others, to create artificial. They're one of the worst offenders of creating artificial scarcity in this world today. They have taken up so much that really it shouldn't be theirs. It shouldn't be theirs. They're an organization whose days are numbered, and they know it. They probably know it. If they're not able to control the realization amongst nation states that stateless international corpo states are fundamental threats to the very security and existence of the nation states they operate within. If they can't reestablish the myth of globalization, and the myth is not necessarily that globalization or like global interconnectedness is necessarily bad in and of itself. It's not really. It's selective global interconnectedness at a time when such things are not actually possible. And they know it. They're not using globalism as anything other than creating opportunity for them to exist outside the parameters of accountability that nation states would traditionally hold the companies within them to. So seeing Google get involved in another fundamental industry of human action, it fills me with loathing. They are very anti-Promethean in everything that they do. They are anti-Prometheans. They're one of the main dragons that we will have to slay if we are to overcome the anti-Prometheans of this world. I think we're going to, let's see, I'll tell you what, let's just see where we go with this. These weatherproof, fireproof, sustainable domes could provide revolutionary housing solutions. And this is from Truth Theory. Here's an excerpt from it. GeoShip is a company that is creating eco-friendly homes to cope with the problem of homelessness in the U.S. As we move forward, protecting nature will be at the forefront. Thus, the firm is proposing ideas of domes that are energy sufficient, affordable, disaster resilient, and also long-lasting. The supposed lifespan of the ceramic domes is 500 years. That's it? What a crock. What a ripoff. GeoShip wishes to... I'm being sarcastic, okay. GeoShip wishes to create a sustainable living through sacred geometry and materials that profit both the planet. I don't care about the sacred. I don't care using the word sacred. No, please don't ever do that. Maybe there's some more scientific. Probably, hopefully is, but I don't buy the sacred part. Anyway. And materials that profit both the planet and its inhabitants. They are going to build the precast of the domes with the help of ceramic composites, which will be chemically bonded. These bioceramic building panels can be produced at low cost and in good quality. They have a design life of 500 years and have the capability of integrating with local ecosystems, maximizing energy efficiency, and also have the potential to change traditional housing. Just one of many alternative solutions. I know for me, my dream, what I want to build homes that are, well, I want to build a home for myself. I want to have 2-foot thick walls. And I want to use either compressed earth brick or rammed earth, some sort of earth solution. And I want to have a home that is basically equipped that I can have at any given time living in my house. Up to 10 people if I wanted or needed to, but I probably want to regularly have folks that are staying there, because there's my daughter, she's only got a few more years. She's 15, so at some point it'll just be my wife and I, but still I want to build a house that is intended to have people in, and hopefully I'll find people. But it's going to be like 5 stories, although it's not going to be like 5-story skyscraper kind of thing. It's going to be 5 stories that are kind of tiered and have roof gardens and whatnot, but the home is built basically in such a way to be highly defendable and to be also highly self-sustaining, so that this is what I hope to create for everyone. Not this particular home style, but geoships are one of these alternatives. Also, you could create whole geoship communities for folks that prefer to live in that type of. There's so much. There's the Bucky domes. There's all kinds of stuff out there. Earth ships. And I'm sure I will cover them. And I do. These are some of the things that I regularly track. I look for out there in the world. And let's see. You know what? I'll just go over this one. I don't want to say too much on this. I'm not going to go over all of this, but I'll just mention this. Trolls went straight to homes. Movie theaters are fuming. This is from AP News. Universal calls the Trolls World Tour digital release a success and suggests it may be the beginning of a sea change in how movies are released. Of course. Theater owners strenuously disagree. AMC Theaters, the largest. What are they disagreeing with? The facts are the facts. Basically, okay, so I'll just skip to it. So NBC Universal CEO Jeff Shell told the Wall Street Journal that the digital release has gone well enough to demonstrate the viability of direct-to-home releases. He promises that even once theaters reopen, we expect to release movies on both formats. The Journal reported that in 3 weeks of $20 on-demand rentals, Trolls World Tour has grossed about $95 million. The studio, which normally, pocketed about the studios, which normally split sales, got $75 million. So they'd have to make $150 million in the theaters to make, Okay, so let's go to AMC for theaters. Their respond. Universal does not have reason to use unusual circumstances in an unprecedented environment as a springboard to bypass true theatrical releases. Sure it does. Everybody does. Reality of Power says they do, because they did. They actually did. The reason is that they can. You don't understand. Well, I'm sure you understand, but this is how we talk to each other. We pretend. So he knows. He's basically trying to use a polite, even though he's not polite. This is still compared to what he's really saying here. This is basically, hey, Universal. Well, you'll see. So John Fithian, President and Chief Executive of the National Association of Theater Owners, he touted the irreplaceable, beloved, immersive, shared experience of sticky floors and crying babies. if the world had not been sequestered. Well, anyway, I want to read what he said here. Where is it? Just get to what he actually said. Here we go. AMC theaters. Okay, so never mind. The National Associated Theaters, he's not the one that pulled out the big guns. Here comes the big guns. AMC theaters went further. CEO Adam Aarons said his company would sever relations with Universal effective Tuesday. He insisted the policy would continue once the theaters reopened, would apply to its venues around the world, and is not some hollow or ill-considered threat. They have no choice. Aaron's, but their days are numbered. They're basically, theaters are going to have to offer a unique experience, truly. And they're probably going to have broader space, and they're going to have to offer the movie companies better deals. And they're going to have to do something special to justify. You're probably going to have, like, you have to pay a certain amount just to get in the door. And then whatever movie you want to see, you pay for that. But they don't get a lot of the money. You have to pay just to get inside. They're going to have to create an experience for people to show up. Aaron said AMC would do the same to any distributor that unilaterally abandons current windowing practices, absent good faith negotiation with us. And that's another thing, too, that they did this. They were desperate. They did it because they had to, because they needed money. And everybody else is like, holy man, we could still do this. Hey, actors, get back. Come on. Coronavirus, it's just the flu. Suddenly Hollywood will be like, it's just the flu, right? Yeah, right now they're all in on we're all going to die. But the vehicle of power will change if suddenly, like, hey, if we got actors back, like, we could make money. We're essential. We're essential workers. Actors, get back here. They won't care. They won't care. All right, that's the end of the briefs. We only have one more segment left on the Action Bots YouTube channel, and also one more segment left in the actual live stream show, Frico Talks the News. But before we get to that and talk about what that's going to be, make sure you go to Frico.com/daily and sign up to get the daily Fricos. You get all the stuff. You get all the stuff sent to your email. No muss, no fuss. You don't have to think about it. It just arrives there without its magical stuff. Magical elves do the work of making sure that you get everything from Frico.com that happens all the time. That's what I offer you for free. You go there. And if you wait until 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and you're watching on the Action Bots YouTube channel at the 8 p.m. show, which is our brief show, then you should know that what's coming up is lighting the Promethean fires against safe internets. Boy, I've used that word a lot. Wonder why I use that word all the time. Okay. Oh, anyway, that's what's coming up. We got the lighting the Promethean fires against safe internets. That's coming up at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you're watching live on dlive.tv/Freako, F-R-E-E-Q-O, guess what? You don't have to wait. When I do the show, I find myself, I grab this thing. And you know why I grab this thing? Because I'm so paranoid that somehow the microphone will be turned off. That I'm literally I'm an idiot. It's just a tick. It's just a tick. You got to let it go, buddy. When you get ticks like that, man, there's some neuroticisms that are going on. You're feeding the fear beast, man. Don't feed the fear beast. Never feed the fear beast unless you have a legitimate reason to be fearful. And then in which case, feed the fear beast, because the fear beast is probably going to do good things for you. Yeah, generally speaking. Hold on one second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna keep this turned on so you can enjoy this. That's what you call deft use of microphone. Right there. That's skill. We're about ready to do the last segment of the show, of the penultimate show of the week. This is the dialectical. So prepare yourself, ladies and gentlemen. We're about ready to record the dialectical in, let me get this up here, 3, 2, 1. This is the dialectical for Freako.com on, well, no. You know what? I'm going to stop this. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. That's not right. I'm stopping it. And you know why I'm stopping it? Because all of a sudden I got an issue with my throat. And it started, like, right away. I was like, what the heck? I just got water, so I got to do this. And I screwed up the opening anyway. So we're going to do this again. Ready? 3, 2, 1. This is the dialectical for Freako Talks the News on Thursday, April 30th, 2020. My name is Freako with Freako.com. Our dialectical today is lighting the Promethean fires against safe internets. Protecting the internet or protecting ourselves? The debate about digital safety. Asking how to make the internet safe is like asking how to make gravity safe. That's Doc Searles. Dr. Searles. When I first went through my initial pass of news links, web scans, and whatnots, this headline, "The internet is a force of nature. It's our job to civilize it," was one of those, oh gosh. What awful spawn of "please authoritarian me harder, master" heck is this? Must put in the consider pile. Must look. These are the things that I do for you, the people. Every day, clicking on links that lead to words that make me want to beat my own metaphorical kitten with my own metaphorical puppy in metaphorical perpetuity, or at least until the words stop moving violent people to action. See, if I thought the words you said couldn't actually contribute to moving violent people to action, I wouldn't care so much about your words. Fat chance, son. Oh, fact check. Frico would never hit a kitten or a puppy, metaphorical or otherwise. True. Also would never hit a puppy with a kitten or a kitten with a puppy, metaphorical or otherwise. But it was a needed metaphor at that time. Never mind. So I thought this story was going to be one of those difficult ponders that make me recheck the life straw stock. You know what I mean? But then, hope. I did not discern the source of this particular harvested link until after the link made the first level of cuts beyond the raws. And there it was, Singularity Hub. There was hope. Singularity Hub has, not as far as I've seen in my harvestings, produced much in the line of more authoritarians, daddy, kind of posts. So there was hope. And it turns out that I was wrong to fear, and I was actually right to hope. Here's an excerpt from Singularity Hub. The internet is a force of nature. It's our job to civilize it. See, that was that word. Civilize. What do you mean by that? See, that I'm thinking right away, civilize. Yeah, you could see why I was concerned. In a talk titled, "What if the Internet Was Safe?" at Singularity University's Global Summit in San Francisco this week, Doc Searles, editor-in-chief of Linux Journal, and Richard Witt, president of the GLIA Foundation and founder of the GLIA Net project, took a stab at an answer. According to Searles, we need to adjust how we look at the online world. Asking how to make the internet safe is like asking how to make gravity safe, he said. The internet is elemental. It's a genie. That's not going back in a bottle. We can't make the internet safe any more than we can gravity. So instead, it's our job to civilize it. If the power is with the platforms today, the solution may be to invert that dynamic. Users are objects from which data is extracted and analyzed in the current model. A more people-friendly model would see us become clients and customers and regain some agency. You're going to notice some themes that are being written and pondered by these two individuals that are in keeping with the theme of the show, what I've been talking about for a while. Pay attention. Well, you don't have to, but I appeal to you. I appeal to your decency to do so. As Witt wrote in a Fast Company article, what if users had the same power as platforms? What if users had a whole layer advocating for them, an arsenal of sophisticated tools to swat away invasive ads, safeguard their personal data, and negotiate fiercely with platforms? Witt's GLIA Net project aims to build an ecosystem of such tools. One component that might enable this new agency would be the development of personal local AIs. What was that? Let's say this again. Hold on. What was that? What was that? What was that? One component that might enable this new agency would be the development of personal local AIs that act on our behalf as opposed to platform AIs like Alexa or Google Assistant that collect our data, store the information on their servers, and share it with vendors. These personal AIs would be like virtual envoys that interact and negotiate with platform AIs. It's just what I've been talking about. See what I've been talking about. Yeah. See, I'm not crazy. I'm not. I've learned a long time ago that so many of the thoughts that I had that people thought were crazy turned out to happen. I've seen things. I'm not a prophet. I just track things around the world, and I've been doing it for years. Like as a hobby, I've been doing it. And I see things that anybody would see if they tracked it like I do. And I've learned that some things that sound crazy, I'm going to say anyway now. And I believe my track record will prove. That's why I'm interested in doing the show, what I'm doing. I'm documenting a lot of my theories, a lot of my suppositions, a lot of my, if you will, my predictions. And I'll see. I will learn. I will come face to face a lot more. So much of my assumptions are based upon my imperfect memory of my own statements. So I'm going to be able to see now. But my strong suspicion is I will see. I'm already seeing things that I'm talking about. I mean, in this case, I've been talking about this localized, personalized AI for the show, and just a few weeks after, I mean, I've been talking about personalized AI way before this, by the way, but on the show, I start talking about it immediately, and then here it is. It's already appearing, in this case, really fast, although not really fast compared to where I was thinking about it and predicting it back in 2003. So that's a different universe back then, and I didn't think of it like I do now, though, because there's a lot more tangible stuff out there that shows me where it's gone. And I wasn't exactly right, but I was right in the core areas. I was right. So let's read this again. One component that might enable this new agency, and I think it just bears repeating. There's drilling into your head. Why do I repeat things? Repetition. We need it. We need to get these thoughts and own them in our heads. They start to change us. If you get this in your head, this notion, you start to think of the world differently. This idea that I could actually have within me, at my capacity, I could have the wisest counsels of the universe that are comparable to any other most powerful human being on the earth ever. You think about that power. You think about that leveling power, that democratizing power. Get that in your head. You start to think about what other people are doing to you, too, a lot differently than what you do now. Because right now, you may feel like you don't have a choice but to accept, in a manner of speaking, the corvée. The corvée. It's ancient times. Corvée is when people would regularly come and show up and do work for agreed periods of time. There's some of the taxation that you pay might not end up being corvée. You're actually buying a service, a valuable service. But much of it is corvée because you do a lot of work that really, not only does it not benefit you, it actually benefits your competition. You're literally paying to keep yourself diminished. That's the corvée part of your tax. Figuring out exactly where that is, I don't know. But one component that might enable this new agency would be the development of personal local AIs that act on our behalf as opposed to platform AIs, centralized, IP-controlled, patent-controlled, licensed to those they approve can use them, that they have already demonstrated a power that they're willing to use for militant factional ends. This is what you want to not happen. When I was preparing this particular post to be converted to show material, when I scanned this last quote, I paused and thought for a second I had written this and not remembered. But let me tell this writer that the word, the definition, the label, the placeholder, the container that this writer is looking for. I don't know if the quote itself was not from one of those. It was I guess a rephrasing, but to whoever wrote this, let me just say to you that the container that you're looking for, that you're struggling to find, is called off-grid AI. That's the phrase. That's what you need to own. That's what you need to become. Off-grid AI, off-grid deep learning, off-grid tech, off-grid aquaponics, off-grid. And it goes beyond merely having AIs we control, but having the core building blocks, anonymous, outside the central grids, to create our own particular AIs, controlling who and what and how they connect to the outside world. And we will want them to connect. It'll be highly advantageous for them to be able to talk to other AIs and other humans, but within our parameters, on our terms, in ways that serve our interests. This company, GLIA Net Project, and Richard Witt will be added to my list of groups to watch for, as well as this Doc Searles, who sounds like he might have the scientific and whatnots chops behind him to possibly execute, as well as Richard Witt, what I can only for now hope to see occur. And when I say for now, I mean there may come a time pretty soon where human beings will have the lay people, as you will, code lay people will have the capacity to actually buy the tools, the programming, whatever they need to actually start building their own AIs. It's going to be here soon. I would say within the next 2 or 3 years, you'll be able to buy such tools. Now, what I want, though, is I don't want those tools to be patent controlled and in the hands of a few companies. I want them to be open sourced. And you buy the tools, but once you have them, they're yours. No licensing, no nothing, and and anybody can sell the tools, pretty much. What a time to be alive, my friends. The race for stewardship tech is on. The wars will be fought in hacked servers and patent courts. Are you ready to light those Promethean fires? And that's going to be the end of this particular segment, this dialectical. Thank you. If you've been watching the Action Bots at YouTube channel, this is the last segment of the day, the 9 p.m. segment. You'll have to wait till 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear the first segment of the next show, but you don't have to wait till 4 p.m. if you want to get all the stuff ahead of time. You can watch live on You can watch live on dlive.tv/Freako, Freeqo. And don't forget to tip your Freako, because you love what I do. You need it. You love it. You want more of it. Freako.com/tips. Tip your Freako. I'm still going to do this even if you don't tip. Even if you don't watch, it's still going to do this. But, especially for you gazillionaires, remember, gazillionaires out there, you hit me up anonymously and with no strings attached, but hit me up. And with that note, I will end this segment. I have some more things to say before I close off the show. But if you're watching on the Action Bots YouTube channel, well, you're going to miss it. You need to get to dlive.tv/Freako, Freeqo, to hear what I'm about ready to say next. Ooh, I just thought of ending it. There you go. That's how I can end the dialectical. I'll end it like that. I'll be a snoot burger. You didn't hear that? That never happened. Listen, folks. The one story of all the stories that I did today that really, I mean, you guys don't know how close I was to losing my Fallujahs. I was seriously going to lose my Fallujahs on that Google story. I can't tell you how fed up I am with all of these especially now because all of them have decided to become such moral authoritarian. Never mind, I'm not going to go into it, otherwise that 18 won't stay. Never mind. But I did it. And that Google story, that was the thing that upset me more than anything. I think if regardless of the degree to which these companies control so many abilities for billions of people to exchange value with one another, if they weren't such high-handed moral supremacist, self-righteous prickles, I wouldn't be nearly as angry at them as I am. But they are. But anyway, that did not fell me. I made it through. I want to say about ready to... I may be adding a fourth site to the aggregate of sites, and it might be a world site, a world link site. I'm not sure, but I may be doing that. If I don't do it this weekend, I'll probably end up doing it next weekend and adding a little bit of work to my life. In the end, you're still going to get 12 stories. I'm just going to be probably, instead of 1,200 to 1,500, I'll probably going to about 1,500 to 1,000, 2,000 links. So I'll just be adding a little bit more link. I want to look at a few more things. There's a few things I want to do as far as pioneering news is concerned. I'm going to be adding a few, like I even talked about here. I'm going to be adding those companies and other certain phraseologies that are now. I'm going to be going through that process, and so you're going to see more stuff focused on some areas that I think are really starting to emerge as being more important than others, at least by my assessment. But I will be possibly creating a world site pretty soon, and I probably will be trying to look fundamentally at their alternative, such as that is, alternative media, not lesser state media, but some state media. It's always good to try. Propaganda tells you truth. Trust me. Truth that the propaganda is never intended. If you know how to read propaganda, and I do. I won't say that I'm a master, but I'm pretty decent at reading propaganda in ways that the propagandist doesn't want me to. So, anyway, going to be tracking some areas, some places that you haven't heard of and you haven't thought of, but some really lot of weird stuff going on out there. Some of it highly encouraging, some of it, where's your life straw at? I got my life straw right here. All right, I'm ready. That's how I feel. I feel like I got to bring a life straw with me sometimes when I go through the news. I think you all agree with me at this present moment of time. And that's how we're going to end the show. We're ending at a pretty decent time too, and I'm very proud of myself for that. And hopefully my whole Metropolis soul steal, that works up as well. So I will see you guys tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Aquaponics on the dlive.tv/Freako. That's FREEQO channel. And also, if you like to see the excerpts, the clean, without all the little talking in between stuff that I do on this show, just the excerpts by themselves, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Actionbaza, ACTIUNEBAZA. And if you do that, then you will get notifications for my videos as I release the excerpts. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thank you for engaging with this material presented. As usual, remember your views, your suppositions do not make you subhuman, nor do they permit you to subhumanize others. No humans were harmed in the making of the show, and we extend no wish of harm in anyone who hasn't directly harmed or threatened to harm others first, no matter how reprehensible we find your views.
We will see you in the next Freako Talks, where Freako attempts to talk about news without freaking out.
Love